welcome to Positively Joy, the podcast on searching in all seasons. I'm your host, Yvette Walker. And today with us, we have Marcus Cade, therapist and life coach and owner of Happiness Decoded 101. Thank you for being on the show, Marcus. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing very well. Thank you.
Good.
So tell us about your business, Happiness Decoded 101. I love the name.
I appreciate that. Well, what I set out to do with Happiness Decoded is set up a platform for people to be able to find and activate a lifetime happiness based on a lack of conditions. So unconditional lifetime happiness, and to be able to utilize certain strategies and certain skills to help maintain happiness. The sort of the backstory behind the title or the name of the business is, my quest has always for quite some time has always been to find happiness, to be happy, and I've had a few tragic events in my life that we'll probably get to later. But what I found is that, number one, through my own experiences, and number two, through asking people, through my travels, are you happy? Are you happy? And I always got a lot of complex answers, or a lot of answers that were contingent upon certain outcomes, receiving certain possessions, certain environmental changes, certain circumstantial changes. And, so I figured I have to come up with a way to show people how to activate happiness within, so that the conditions don't matter. We can find the advantages in all conditions, all states of being, all situations, and regardless of what possessions you have. And so there's 4 categories that I help people find happiness in, because I wanted to narrow it down for people, because sometimes people may be great in a mental health sense,
right,
but not doing so well in the relationship department, or have the relationship they want, but not have a sense of life purpose. So I said, let me categorize, let me get at least 4, so people can find out where they're falling short and use the other strengths to work in their favor. So
before you tell us that, I just want to tell you I love that, because so often it seems like we are either doing well in one or another part of our lives. Like work is going great, but then your personal life is suffering, or family, or whatever. So I like that you're acknowledging that and showing us how to build the strengths on that. So yeah, tell us.
Exactly, because it's, if you look at the basic structure of just a lot of the ancient artifacts, and there's at least 4 pillars to hold up a structure. So I figured it's the same in life. I like to try to look to different disciplines in history to try to figure out how things are harmonious throughout the universe, and just how we operate physiologically, etc. But my 4 pillars are, and they're actually 4 P's. So psychology is the first one, purpose is second, partnerships is third, and I would say that would include romantic relationships, friendships, family, anything that even business relationships, any human relationships. And the fourth is physical health. So originally I had 3. I added the 4th one because any suffering in the physical sense, and as we know that's your temple, any suffering there can pull down the rest of the pillars, because your life will be cut short, or your life will be compromised in a lot of ways. So I came up with these 4, and that's what everything is based on.
Okay, let's go back a little bit and talk about your life as a therapist. So how'd you get started, and why was that something you wanted to go into?
I would say that the first time that I really saw an affinity for this type of work, or found it coming natural, I should say, was middle school, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. And what happened was, in my class, I was always the one that everybody came to for advice if they were going through some stuff. Even and the funny thing about it, a primary arm of my work is in dating and relationships. That's what my nightly show is about.
Mm-hmm.
And it started even back then because I was, anybody who, middle school, you still have boyfriends and girlfriends in middle school. So
that's true.
There was relationship drama back then, and a lot of my friends would come to me for, advice on it or, perspective or encouragement and things like that. And they used to call me their counselor. So as a child, you internalize certain things, and just hearing that eventually led me to have an interest in it. And I didn't know it as really a discipline until high school. There was a class I took in philosophy, and we started to hear about a lot of the Freud, a lot of the theorists that now,
right,
were incorporated in that class, and it was dream interpretation, and so I really got hooked in. So that's where the talent of it started to show itself in middle school, but high school the interest came in, so I was able to combine those two.
Mm-hmm.
And then in college I majored in it, and the rest was history from there. Went to grad school and got a master's in clinical psych from there, and then just started working.
So you can do a lot with that degree. Why did you decide to start your own business?
That's actually a bigger story. So my mom was murdered in 2005, and so I was actually it was during Christmas break. So I was still on campus. I was still in Hampton. I was a few days from going back home to Jersey to be with my family. And I got the news before I left. So I came home, and as you may or may not be able to assume that it was something that broke the family. And it really it really shook me to my core.
I bet.
The way that my thing was, even days after I was wrecking my brain, still mourning, but wrecking my brain trying to figure out what I can dedicate to her with my life after this. Because I didn't want to let her die in vain. I didn't want her teachings, her, what she was proud of, and the things that she instilled in me to go dormant. And it gave me a certain fire to say, I need to help as many people as possible. I need to take her energy and be able to provide the world with something to not only heal people who have gone through similar things, but help people reach the pinnacle of their sense of success, their visions, and just can be completely inspired in all ways possible. And so, it was rough in grad school because I found myself just like I graduated Hampton, and I went straight to grad school in Chicago, and I kind of kept the routine going because in my mind, I was dedicating. I didn't want to stop. I felt like I wanted to keep going and things like that, and I kind of struggled a little bit, working my way through. So I made the decision eventually to get the master's, take a pause, because I was headed to a doctorate, but I took a pause and decided to work, to relocate closer to family and friends, and it was through this transition that I was always looking for my purpose, because I knew the psychology was a big interest for me, but after she passed, it didn't feel like enough. It was no longer enough for me. I wanted to do private practice after she passed. I couldn't just do, not to denigrate the work in any way, but I wouldn't be serving enough people, put it that way.
Okay.
There's limitations on the day, how many clients you can see. And I felt like I wanted to utilize more of myself as the maximum of myself. I knew I had a lot of different interests that maybe I didn't see how they could come together at that point. But I wanted to use everything that I had from childhood activities, interests, things I used to do, passions, everything that I could possibly, collaborate within me to help change the world in some kind of way. So that being the intent, it took me some years to bring everything together. But I was able to salvage every aspect of myself. And then the next thing was I got to build a platform for people to consume
Right.
everything that I've learned from my experiences, everything that I've researched, everything that I've put together, and in artistry, because my platform is based on healing through artistry. So it's some people learn through workshops, some people learn through reading, some people learn through the emotional connection with music. Some people learn through blog posts and articles, documentaries. And I love to write, I love to act, I love to do all of these different things. So I said I'm going to build one platform with a universal healing message, but send it to people in all the ways that people consume information, so that nobody's left out. The people who learn visually can get it. The people who learn audio visually get it. The people who learn from entertainment can get it. The people who love music can get it. I'm not leaving anybody out to dry with this. So I was very dedicated, put a lot of time, a lot of years in, and I was able to find a platform where I could upload as I create. I can upload it, and people can access it all around the world. And so that's where Happiness Decoded meets my the website, and then so people go to the website. I upload content weekly, and it comes from it can be various forms. It can be a podcast, it can be mini documentary, etc. And what's more, I give people the option to suggest content. So I may be doing something on this week. I may do something on counteracting negative thoughts. Something else I may be doing how to thrive post-divorce. Over here, I may be doing how to overcome the fear mechanism and fear overtaking your life, right? And then, but you personally may be going through something deep that I haven't covered yet with all of my content. And when you log on, you have all access to all past content and future content.
Gotcha.
You may be going through something to where the quarantine is making you hate your husband, or the quarantine is making it hate your kids. Something's going on right now, and I haven't covered it yet. So as the member, you have the autonomy to message me within the platform, say, hey, look, I'm going through this specific thing. Can you do something on this? And then the next week or the next week after, I comprise content based on what you said and offer strategies to heal that specific problem and to help you and other people who may be going through that.
Okay, so there's someone out there who definitely is seeking. They know they need some help or some additional just some things to think about. So they go to Happiness Decoded, www.patreon.com/Happiness Decoded. And so they see everything you have to offer. They sign up with you, and they can actually custom their own needs with you.
Right, because they have access to everything that I post. So I launched October of last year, and so I have a lot of content already there.
Right.
You can binge watch. You can connect and make sure that you have all the strategies and routines, etc. But they can actually because I wanted people to have some say over their education, because I've been in situations where you have the traditional educational system, you have different workshops and trainings. Workshops may give you more autonomy because you can look at the title of a workshop and say, I don't want that, or I want this.
Yeah.
But when we're dealing with a therapeutic media platform, I definitely want to hit the target. I don't want to give you any fluff, any extra. I don't want to hear myself talk for 2 hours. I want to make sure that, as a marksman, I can make sure that I hit the direct target, and I give you short, practical strategies to add to your daily routine in a very practical way that can help you heal through the exact situation you're going through. Because when I do digital lectures on the platform, I try to keep it to maybe 15 to 20 minutes, because this is all dedicated to the busy people of America. You have kids, you have a profession, you have a lot of things going on. I want this to be able to be consumed and fit right in with your normal life and only require minimal effort, but and a lot of consistency, minimal effort, a lot of consistency. so that you can make those changes almost seamlessly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give people more work to do. A lot, like, I don't want to add to your stress. I'm here to relieve it. And so I was very strategic. I'm always very strategic with how I deliver information, because with you all, the people in mind, I want to make sure it's easy to add in, and it's the most effective and the most potent possible.
Have you seen an uptick in people needing this service during COVID, during the season of COVID-19, or even maybe during um, the injustice and difficult situations we've seen in the last couple of weeks?
Yes, it definitely. And it's very strange that a lot of my recent content is connected to a lot of the injustices, even before some of them happen. But I try to adapt my approach as I recognize the need going up.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my content will be geared towards the actual environment as of now, to help people adapt, because one of the main things that I think is going to help us to grow and evolve, and be able to not take too much emotional and spiritual and mental damage throughout this whole process, is to be able to adapt, thrive, and find advantages in different situations, as opposed to being drawn to the negative and letting the negative overcome our mindset. Because whenever we're emotionally immersed in negative thinking and fear-based thinking, it paralyzes our movement, and we can't be strategic and tactical. And these are times where we have to be vigilant, more vigilant than ever.
Right, right. You mentioned your mom and how her death was the catalyst for a lot of what you're doing now. Um,
Yeah.
and you mentioned her memory and her teaching. Is there a strong memory or teaching from her that you always cling to when you do your work?
Yeah, quite a few, but there was one particular time that I always. This is the one that has been the baseline for everything that I've done since, and it was one particular day. I was in a car with her, and I think I was in high school at the time, and we were kind of driving around doing errands. But if we were always in the car together.
Mm-hmm.
There would be times where we would have, just have great conversations, and we were kind of pulling into the house, and we sat in the driveway for a while. We were having this conversation, and I remember I was very emotionally in tune with her. We've seen a lot of things together, and even at a young age, I've always been in tune with her emotions, and been, trying to do whatever even as a kid, just doing whatever I could to help move the meter the other way if she was ever going through anything, or I could feel that she was emotional about things. So
Sure.
there was a particular time where we were just talking about something. We would always go on wherever the tangent would take us, and she was really emotional, and she was trying to tell me about my potential. She was just saying, like, the sky's the limit for you. She called me Marky. That was my nickname.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, the sky's the limit for you, Marky. You can do anything that you want to do, anything that you put your mind to. And I want you to always just do your best, and be confident, and those kind of it was that kind of rhetoric, that kind of teaching. And the reason it stood out is because it was she was so emotional at the time. It keyed me in. I always listened to her, but my memory, everything tied in. My heart was tied into what she was saying at that point, because it affected her in a certain way. And then so I really, that plus everything she had said, over the course of my life, made me have just an internal burning fire to utilize that. And that's why private practice and certain things became no longer enough for me to have utilized my entire potential, for people.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's a beautiful memory. Um, you mentioned this work really even drawing you as early as middle school. I'm kind of like you. People like to come to talk to me, but I don't particularly enjoy that. Bringing their problems. It's stressful, and so that's not my not my area.
Right.
Um, But I can definitely see how being a therapist and a life coach can be stressful. So how do you find joy in it?
That's hard to say because I love it. Like I feel like and that's why whenever I gave you the four pillars, right? Whenever people's purpose pillar is faltering or whatever, I always tell them I'll help you get in sync with the things that you could do 24 hours a day without. All you would need was food and water, and you could just do whatever that thing is. But a lot of times I help people deconstruct their lives and dissect themselves to find the same way I did, to find the exact components that you are comprised of, the exact ingredients that you have, and be able to combine them in a way that you're fully activated and you could do this all day. And that's the similar thing with me. Like, I could literally do it all day. I mean, I get tired, like as people get tired and doing the same thing or whatever. But I enjoy it because I thrive on other people seeing progress and getting to where they need to go and being happy, being fulfilled, seeing progress, learning more about themselves, the self-awareness aspects, trying strategies, those strategies working, being consistent, seeing changes, being successful in business. These things are very important to me. And so, when I get every time I get a chance to help somebody get to a goal, I roll my sleeves up and we get dirty and we make it happen. And it's always just fun. So it's always good.
Okay, wow, that's great. I wonder if you have a favorite scripture and how does it relate to the season you're walking through?
Well, I've always been big on Proverbs, even from a kid, being introduced to the Bible. But Proverbs was, and it's almost similar to a lot of, now that I look at it, similar to how I approach things now. Is just practical knowledge, wisdom. One plus two, that kind of thing is very central to me because it's easy to remember, it's easy to memorize, and it's easy to move forward with. And I've always been somebody who's striving for knowledge. I've always been a curious kid. Family members to tell you now, I was the one asking 3,000 questions, and it's like, what I mean, just back to back. And so I'm glad to say I've never lost that. But there's one Proverbs, I think it's 27:19, as it says, "As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart." And I think that I'm glad to say that I'm a testament to that. I strive to make sure that my life is a reflection of my heart. So people know, and people will have given me great feedback and said that they can feel the authenticity. They can feel that this man is dedicated to something that's powerful, something that's unyielding, and I say that lends itself to my consistency because it's all dedicated, to my mom, and I'm still trying to make her proud even to this day.
Oh, well, I know you are. I know you are. So you've got a lot going on. Do you have some upcoming projects? What are your next plans in life?
Mm, Great question. I have few virtual workshops coming up that I want to, and they're connected to the times. One is based on food and detoxing, and then the other one is based on just survival tactics and preparation and things like that. So those two I'm definitely preparing for coming up. I also have a short film on the way as well. So I've written the script. I'm just revising it right now, working on casting.
Nice.
But no, this one I'm really proud of this one, and because it has the dating and relationship component to it, as far as the how far would you go for the person that you love. I would say that would be the biggest tagline I can give you. But it's an action story. It's a comedy, but it's also deeply rooted in marriage and dating and relationships and the strength of a relationship when two people choose each other and they're right for each other. They would do anything to make sure that each other was safe and okay. So That's on the way as well. So I'm doing the soundtrack for that too. So that's really the two major things that I'm working on right now is the workshops, and I'm doing my second book as well. And it's going to be just the overall guide to achieving unconditional happiness. So people can be able to read that. My last book was based on dating and relationships, and sort of reversing a lot of the psychological baggage from childhood, from relationship history and things like that. So second book, workshops, and the film. So
And people can find all about that at, give me your website again.
It's www.patreon.com /Happiness Decoded 101. And my social media is at Happiness Decoded 101, and the link is in that bio too.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean it's always so good to find some practical ways to, I love the word activate that you use, and find some practical ways to just find our joy. And I love that you really lean on Proverbs. I love it that so many people are finding leadership advice and practical advice in in this ancient book that tells us what the Lord wants us to do. So that's great. All right. Well, thanks so much. And for our listeners, thanks for listening. As always, this is Positively Joy, and farewell for now.